Are you team Aaron Ramsdale or are you team David Raya? That is the question we're asking today. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, today's video is centering on this big Arsenal debate right now that is occurring. It is, of course, in regards to the goalkeeping situation at the Gunners. Is Aaron Ramsdale still the #1 goalkeeper at Arsenal, or is David Raya taking over that position? This, of course, all started when Arsenal made the signing of David Raya on loan from Brentford this summer. And, of course, this week, the media and everybody else has seen it all play out in action with David Raya taking the reins as the #1 goalkeeper for this week at least. And whether or not that will continue or not remains to be seen. In my opinion, I think the media have blown this slightly out of proportion, and I think there are reasons for that, which I'll go on to a little later. But Mikel Arteta has had his say on the goalkeeping situation and what he may intend to do going forward in regards to both Ramsdale and Raya. Jamie Carragher's also made a couple of comments about Ramsdale in particular and about how Arsenal have upgraded with the signing of David Raya. But of course, this is a big debate that is happening right now, and I thought I'd just throw my 2 cents into it. I'm quite interested. I'm open for all of these types of debates and topics. And I've kind of got a few thoughts of my own that I want to just put out there and put across. So we're going to be talking all about this goalkeeping situation, everything else as well. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things always and very greatly appreciated. And of course, for you lot to get involved in the comment section. I'm sure this is a big topic for everybody, so I'm sure you've got a lot of interesting thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That'll make for great and interesting reading down below in that comment section, so do get involved down there. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's talk Arsenal, let's talk David Raya, let's talk Aaron Ramsdale, and everything else in between. Like I say, this week, we've seen this David Raya versus Aaron Ramsdale thing in action for the first time. Obviously, this debate was brought about when obviously Arsenal made the signing of David Raya from Brentford, initially on loan with the view to make it a permanent deal at the end of the season. And it took us until match day 5 of the brand new season for it to play out before our very eyes. This week, Arsenal took on Everton in the Premier League on Sunday, and David Raya was picked as the starting goalkeeper in that game, making his debut for the club. After that, we all assumed that maybe he's saving Ramsdale for the Champions League. However, that wasn't to be. David Raya was again picked ahead of Ramsdale in the Champions League as Arsenal made their return to the biggest and best cup competition in club football, with, like I say, Raya taking the reins in goal and helping his side to a 4-0 victory in the Champions League against PSV on Wednesday night. It's caused a lot of debate. It's caused a lot of stir in the football community, the Arsenal fan base. Everybody seemingly is divided over who should be the starting goalkeeper at Arsenal Football Club. Now, if you're asking me, it's seemingly down to preference. When you look at the stats, there's not that much that is separating Raya and Ramsdale. I think if you look at them, I think Raya is just ahead of Ramsdale, but it's not by a long distance. It's not by a clear mile. When you look at stuff like shots saved, conceded goals, big moments, that kind of thing, Raya seemingly is head and shoulders, well, a little bit clear and giving the edge over Ramsdale. Not head and shoulders, because it's not that clear. It's also not a shampoo. But at the same time, it's not by a great distance in those types of stats, but it's about playing style. That's the main difference. It's about playing style, and I think it's about preference over that playing style. You will have to look at the stats in terms of that aspect, and you can say that Raya is better. You can also look at context and say that, okay, maybe teams play differently against Brentford than they would against Arsenal, which is why Raya's faced more shots, which is why Raya has saved more, therefore, and why Raya has made some big moments, maybe conceded more, whatever the case may be. But with preference, it's about the playing style. Raya has one of the best distributions long distance in the league. I think he was actually top of the long distance distributions of all goalkeepers in the Premier League last season. Ramsdale likes more of a safe and short distribution. Nothing wrong with that, but again, it's about preference. It's about preference, and if you're wanting to play out from the back more, maybe you would choose Ramsdale. If you're wanting a more direct approach and a more accurate approach, maybe you'd go for Raya. That seems to be the difference between the two goalkeepers. And I said that when Arsenal did make the signing of Raya this summer. I said that it does seem to me like they want to keep their options open at the back. They may want to go a bit more long ball. They may want to go a bit more direct with Raya, as opposed to a bit more conserved and a bit more reserved or a bit more shorter with Ramsdale. I'm not saying Ramsdale isn't a good distributor. I'm just saying Raya is better. He's better. He's more accurate. The stats back that up. So it does seem to be a matter of preference. And it does, and if that is to be the case, what Arteta said this week about the goalkeeping situation actually does intrigue me a little bit. Arteta came out this week and said that in the past, he's wanted to sub out the goalkeeper. He's got to certain games and certain times within those certain games and has said that he never really had the courage to swap out a goalkeeper. Now, obviously, with having 5 subs, it obviously raises the chance of maybe subbing out a goalkeeper. And he said that, why not make that a regular thing? I'm paraphrasing, of course. Like I've worded it terribly in comparison to how he's worded it. But he basically said that he would be seemingly more willing and maybe has now the capability and maybe even more so the courage to swap out a goalkeeper if the situation calls for it. And now that he's got 2 very good goalkeepers within his squad, he may have more of an opportunity to do so going forward. He said that, and some people were like, yes, very forward thinking. I like the idea. I like that he's trying to evolve the game and take it up to a new level and all that kind of stuff. Some people were saying, you're crazy, you're weird, it's just not feasible that you should be doing that. My argument to that is if Pep Guardiola had said it, everybody would be on board straight away because who are we to argue with Pep Guardiola? But just because Mikel Arteta said it, and of course because he always seemingly has Pep's shadow overshadowing him, many people seem to think like, oh, he's just trying to be like Pep. He's just trying to find ways to change the game, but he's not as smart or as innovative as what Pep is. Again, maybe you can make that argument, but in my opinion, I think that with Raya and with Ramsdale being 2 different goalkeepers with their distributions, I would argue it makes sense. It does make sense that if you want to go a bit more long ball because playing out from the back isn't working against the team that plays high, has a high pressing intensity, or the opposite effect where the long ball isn't working, the long ball isn't sticking to your target man or whatever the case may be, you can swap out the goalkeepers to suit the needs for the game and suit the style of play that you want to play for that game. They're both good shot stoppers, but they change the game based on their distribution level. Therefore, I think Arteta's right to change that out. Now, do I personally agree with it? Not necessarily. I think changing out a goalkeeper is probably one of the worst positions to do it in. You're sat on the bench for a while. You could come into the game very cold. Your gloves could be very cold. You could be not used to the intensity of the game in like the 60th, 70th, 80th minute, if that is to be the case. And you could make a couple of absolute howlers that could reflect badly on you going forward in that team and could reflect badly on the manager as well. And that's what I think is what the media are setting up for. The media this week have been all over this goalkeeping scenario, mainly because I think it's been a bit of a slow week, not in terms of obviously football and action, but in terms of news elsewhere, and they needed something to pull at. And especially when it comes to Arsenal, the media definitely need something to pull at. They are looking for any sort of loose thread at Arsenal to pull at because, as we know, Arsenal have been a banter club of the media for the past several years. So with that being the case, they're looking for anything to kind of cause a little bit of disruption or a little bit of concern within the Arsenal fan base. And this is gold to them. This is gold. In a couple of years in which Arsenal have been very good and they've been that good that the media have sort of left Arsenal and AFTV and other Arsenal outlets alone. This is seemingly a good opportunity for them to sort of pull at the Arsenal thread yet again and cause a bit of disruption within the fan base. The media have been creating a bigger issue out of this than what I think needs to be. Yeah, I think there is room for topic and debate, but some of the comments that have been thrown around this week have been pretty harsh, pretty weird, and pretty crazy. They've been very divisive. They've very much divided everybody, and including the media, on this as to who should start in goal. Some people think Ramsdale is a better goalkeeper. Some people think Raya is a better goalkeeper. I get that, and I think there is a topic there to be discussed. But again, the media calling out Arteta for doing this, calling out Arteta for his want to change the goalkeeper midway through a match or partway through a match. It's weird to me that they'd leap on this. But again, like I say, they wanted Arsenal to be their banter club again because it draws in the views, it draws in the clicks, the listeners, the whatever it may be. It draws them into this type of scenario. And Jamie Carragher even went on to say this week that he believes Arsenal won't win the Premier League with Aaron Ramsdale, and that is why David Raya was brought in as an upgrade. And again, I'm not denying that David Raya may or may not be an upgrade on what Arsenal currently have. I'm not denying it. I think there is an argument to be had there that maybe, just maybe, David Raya is an upgrade on Aaron Ramsdale. It does seem harsh that he'd come out and say it the way that he did, but again, he's there for his opinion, and we can't take that away from him. He's right to his opinion. But again, it just seems strange to me that the media are building this up. And the reason why the media are building this up, for anybody who hasn't got what I'm trying to get at here, is because if this does go wrong, let's say this Sunday, Arsenal take on Spurs, North London derby, massive game, bragging rights on the line, 3 points on the line, two teams going into this game unbeaten. Let's say that Arsenal go into the game 1-0 up in the 70th, 80th minute, and then Arteta decides to change things up. Maybe he started with Ramsdale and then wants to bring on David Raya. He wants to change things up, wants to go a bit more long ball, try and catch Tottenham out on the counter-attack. He brings Raya on, he takes Ramsdale off. If Raya is at fault for even one goal that causes Arsenal to drop points in that game, the media are going to have a field day. Arteta needs to take responsibility. Raya will need to take responsibility in that scenario, or Ramsdale, depending on whichever one he decides to start or take off, if that is to be the case. The media are going to have a field day, though. They are going to love pointing at Arsenal and laughing, and they're going to love pointing at Arteta and laughing as this experiment of changing goalkeepers backfired and blew up in his face. And that is what the media are hoping for with this, that it all blows up in Arteta's face. Personally, for me, I think you should have one goalkeeper that you start and another goalkeeper that you bring in for cup games or you bring in as a stand-in. I don't think you should be chopping and changing every week, because it not only unsettles your goalkeepers, but it also unsettles your back four as well, or your back five, or your defensive line, or whatever the case may be, because they rely on the goalkeeper as much as the goalkeeper relies on them. I think it will unsettle them if you're constantly chopping and changing goalkeeper, and that's my opinion on that. But like I say, the media are hoping it backfires, and for me personally, if I had to choose between one or the other, I'm going for David Raya. I think David Raya is a slightly better goalkeeper in terms of shot stopping, not by a long shot, but only just. But I think mainly it's about his distribution. I'm not saying he can't play out from the back. I'm not saying Ramsdale can't go long. But when you look at the stats and when you look at the distribution levels, Raya is more accurate. And I think the accuracy will outweigh the whatever Ramsdale has at that goes for him, unfortunately. Like I said, I think Ramsdale is a good goalkeeper, and I've been proven wrong since obviously he signed for the club. Like, I question the money aspect, I question why they would go for this guy, but at the same time, I am more... If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be leaning more towards David Raya than I would Aaron Ramsdale. But again, it's about how you want to play. It's about distribution levels. But just be wary that the media wants this to blow up. The media wants this to blow up completely. So just be aware of that. But those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this David Raya, Aaron Ramsdale situation? Who should be Arsenal's #1 goalkeeper going forward this season? Do you agree with Arteta's comments on subbing goalkeepers? Or that Jamie Carragher's comments on Aaron Ramsdale not being a Premier League winner whilst he's with that Arsenal side? Let me know in the comment section what you think on this big topic that has played out this week before our very eyes. Would love to hear and see from you all on that in the comment section. Your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings. I'm sure will make for great and interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thanks all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you all again soon in a video, live stream, or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Have a good day. Have a good one. And I will see you and speak to you very, very soon.